Hi everybody, welcome back. My name's Nicholas. Today's the day we've all been waiting for. We're going to be doing concrete pumpkins again this year. Super excited about it, but we have some different ones we're going to try. We actually are going to be doing the same ones that we did last year and then a couple other kinds. Mom and I went and got supplies for everything. So let me show you all the supplies we have. You don't need all of these to do if you were only going to do one type. So I'll tell you what supplies you need for which type of pumpkin you're going to do. And I'm excited, so let's just get going. As usual, you need concrete, something to mix it in, and I use a mixer attached to my drill, but you could just mix it by hand. And the ones that we did last year and some that we're going to do this year, you use like pantyhose. I will tell you that I've had better luck with thicker hose than thinner hose. The thin hose gets stuck to the pumpkin once it dries, and the thicker ones peel off easier. I have this string to tie around the pumpkin to make it look like a pumpkin, and then I have some rope to use as the stems. And I also have two different concrete or cement colorings. This one is terracotta colored and this one is brown. And so we're going to do some in both of these and also in just regular concrete color. We are also going to be, I found these at the Dollar Tree. They're just literally the shape of a pumpkin, and I'll just pour the concrete in. Once it dries, I'll be able to just take this off, and it's just a cute little extra, like easy pumpkin. This is the pumpkin that I'm going to be focusing on today. Like, it's like the new one that I want to try. And really, you just fill this up with concrete, and then you take a cup and put it down in there. And then once it dries, the cup comes out, the plastic peels off, and then you have a planter or a vase that you can use. I don't know that I'll use it with the face side. I might just use it with the plain pumpkin side, but we will see. And then the last thing I was going to try, I found this plate, this skull plate, and I was thinking that if I just pour cement or concrete in here and let it dry and then flip it over, it will be like a skull, and you could use it as like a stepping stone or just a decoration. But I just thought that that would be another cool thing to try. So that's the three types, well, four I guess, of concrete things we're going to be making today. And I don't know which one I'm going to do first, but for each one I'll make sure that you get good, I get good shots, and you'll know exactly how to make them in the future if you want to. I probably won't go as in depth in this video as I did in the last video for the pantyhose pumpkins, so I will link that video if you're interested in following that. It's like a step-by-step, but I just want to see all of these side by side and see which one I like the most. So far, we have done the 3 like pumpkin, what are those called? Candy baskets, and or trick-or-treat baskets. And then we also did the 2 iridescent smaller pumpkins. All of those are going to be pretty much the same thing, where we'll just, like, once the pumpkin's dry, we have to peel or like cut the plastic pumpkins off of them. The next things we're going to do are the plate, the skull plate, and then the pantyhose pumpkins, but we have to mix up some more concrete. So let me show you what we've done so far and show you what I did with the cup inside those pumpkins to make it a planter or a flower arrangement, like a vase. Here they are. And what we did, we used some rocks inside these solo cups and then ended up taping them down so that there will be a little like reservoir on the top that will either house like a plant or some flowers or something. And then these, it's just easy. You just fill it up all the way and make sure it also hits the very top of these spots on the pumpkin, or else it won't look like a pumpkin exactly. So they're easy, and we just have to wait for them to dry. I would imagine for these, it's going to take 24 hours. And for the plate that we're going to do as well, that will probably take a while. But the pantyhose pumpkins, we found it doesn't take a full 24 hours to let those dry, because they don't have a plastic casing around them. Like there's a lot of airflow with the pantyhose. So we're just going to mix up some more concrete and continue doing it. We ended up doing 2 like regular concrete colored pumpkins, 2 brown pumpkins, and 2 terracotta pumpkins. I'm curious to know what you guys, well, you won't really know what's your favorite until we take the pantyhose off of them. I'm thinking that brown might be my favorite and mom as well. But isn't like the shape just so cool? And really you can make it whatever shape you want. Like it doesn't have to be perfect because that's not what pumpkins look like. So like this one, that ridge is like really small and then the one next to it is really large. They all end up just having their own flair. And these ones we will wait probably, I'm gonna check this evening, so maybe like 6 or 7 hours just to see where they're at. And if they're not ready by dark, then I'll just do them tomorrow. So probably like 12, 14 hours. And then these are the first ones that we did that we already talked about. These will probably, I would imagine, take a full 24 hours. And then this is the stepping stone, the hopefully stepping stone. I don't know what it's gonna turn out like because it's hard to know since it's face down, but hopefully it turns out great. So we're gonna let these dry and mom will be back with us, I think, tomorrow to see what the result is. Again, I have rope to make the stems on the pumpkins, and then we can make some arrangements in the vase pumpkins. And also mom made some stuff I wanted to show you. She's been doing like clay mushrooms and such. The ghost kind of cracked, but the mushrooms look really cute. Here's her ghost. She's saying it did not work out, which because it cracked and stuff, but it's probably just because it's so hot out here. It just dried out too quickly. But her mushrooms look very cute. Now the stems have to be glued and I have to paint them and stuff. Yeah, but they'll be like, but look how cute. Little teeny tiny mushrooms. Very cute. You could use them in like a fairy garden situation. Or you put them in a pot, a potted plant. Oh, yep. Which is what I'm going to do with them. That too. So I'll have her, whenever they're finished, I'll have her send me some photos and I'll show you guys. So we'll see you in roughly 24-ish hours. I just got done unmolding everything and they look really good. They have character, they're not perfect. So if this is like a project that you want to do that's like completely perfect with no little marks or dips or divots, then that's probably not for you, but it's really cool. So we still have the tray stepping stone thing to do. I'm not hopeful that it's going to work out because it looks like there's a crack, but it's okay. It was $1 or $1.50, I think. But let's look at the stuff now before we finish it up. I want to make like a little tiny bouquet or something to put in one of them, and we have to put stems on the pantyhose pumpkins, and I have rope for that. Here they are, completely finished. So these were the iridescent pumpkins and they look pretty cool. We did a terracotta one and a regular concrete color one, and I didn't fill them up all the way because there was like a little screw top on them, because I wanted to, I don't know, I wanted them to be like this too. And then I could, you know, put a stem on it if I want to. This is the platter that, see, there's like cracks around the edges. I don't know. We'll see what happens. Oh, it's already lifting away, so it should be really easy. We'll do this in just a second after I show you. Oh yeah, look at that. Well, you live and you learn. These pumpkins are gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous, and I really love the brown ones. And then here are the kind of like jack-o'-lantern ones. And there's a solo cup sized hole in the bottom. I am very excited. I was afraid that when I was filling them up that it wasn't gonna kind of do this top like ridge area, and it did just fine. But what I mean by they're not perfect is there are some like spots on all of these, but I think they look cool. So you could either use it with the face pointing out, or you could turn it around and do it without the face. And I use like a really high grade hot glue to put the stems on. Now, you could maybe try to figure out a way when you're tying the pantyhose to set the rope in there, but I don't actually think it would work because you have to tie the pantyhose off, and you wouldn't be able to do that if there was a stem of some sort in there. And then when you put the string around it to tie it, I feel like I don't know, I just don't think it would work. But I've had great luck using a really good hot glue, and I've never had a stem fall off before. And I've made them a year ago and they're still doing pretty great. So I'm gonna grab the rope and some flowers so that we can make some arrangements in there, and we will see what's going on with this stepping stone. Everything's done except for the stepping stone. I'm gonna turn it over and look how much of a mess it is, and then we'll do close-ups of everything because they're looking really good. Yeah, it's already out. So it's not great, but think of it like this. You know how stuff they do sometimes where it's like decrepit and old or whatever? Like, what if I sink this in the ground and then like there's like grass growing? I mean, I don't know if I'll be doing that in my own garden, but I'll at least put it in front of the greenhouse for this season. But it's not too bad. I mean, it's rustic. So let's look at it. Let's like get a close up of all of this stuff. And I only did one arrangement just because I thought it'd be like an assault on the eyes if I did too much. And you guys can tell me what you think after that. Look how beautiful. I'm very interested to like see which one's your guys' favorite. What color, what design, what application. So we decided to put some tea lights in these just because they looked like a perfect spot for them. Obviously my batteries are not working, but what's new, that's life. And then we have the pantyhose pumpkins, which really look the best probably out of everything. They just look so real and very interesting, and quite honestly, they're the easiest out of all of these to make, and especially easiest out of all of them to demold. And then we have the vases back here, or whatever we're gonna call them. I mean, there's not a hole in the bottom, so I would imagine put water in there and use it as a vase. I did not put water in here, which is why the coleus is going limp already, but it's still interesting to me. I think that like a potted mum would be cool in here, because then it would be like a kind of like ball on the top. You could put a candle. I had another idea. You know those little tiny fires that you can get that are like propane or whatever, and they're like in cans? You could drop one down there and have fire coming out of the pumpkin's head. That'd be pretty sick. And then we have the skull, which has seen better days, but it's actually pretty cool. I'm going to put it in the ground and let it be, at least for this season. So I'm going to go find places to put this stuff and take some good pictures for you guys. And that's going to be the end of this video. It's really interesting to do the pumpkins a year later, and I did them with Mom again this time, so I actually think it's easier to do with two people, especially the pantyhose pumpkins, because when you're filling up the pantyhose, like, you kind of need someone to like stretch them out. Although I think last year I used a planter, like a nursery container canister, and put the pantyhose on it and then put the cement in, or concrete, which would work. It worked just fine. And then, but it was fine just doing it with two people as well. I will say I learned something by doing it last year and this year. The drying time for the pantyhose pumpkins is not that long. I waited 5 hours yesterday before I took the pantyhose off of the pumpkins, and it really helped, because I could tell that like the pantyhose were really starting to get stuck to the pumpkin itself. Last year when we did it, there were some that were so stuck to the pumpkins that we actually had to sand the pantyhose off of the pumpkins. So I would say 4.5 hours or so, you could just take them off, and you'll be saving yourself a huge headache at that point. And then it was just fun trying out different ways that you can make pumpkins this year, and I'm sure next year we'll think of more. But anyway, I truly hope you guys enjoyed this video, and thank you for watching, and I will see you very soon. Keep learning and keep growing.